Hello and welcome to Serious Slander Saturday. I've hopefully fixed my mic this time so it actually works. If you can let me know in the chat how it sounds, that'd be fantastic. Tonight's topics are a little bit fucking spicy, if I do say so myself, and actually affect the AUTZ, as the entities involved are pretty, they're the CNTZ, AUTZ people. That sounds fine. Fucking sick. It actually worked for once. So tonight's topics is AOM is folding into Ranger Regiment. Not only that, because they are folding into Ranger Regiment, the Ranger Regiment has been given 1 week to vacate the Imperium, otherwise they will be shot on sight. One of the other topics tonight is Fraternity only has decided to attack AOM because AOM's main FC and Alliance leader, or at least, Alliance leader in the way that Villy was the quote-unquote test leader, is Fulcrum is in hospital. Last night, my computer nearly caught fire. And more. We have a couple of people who will be joining us later on tonight on the show. Malachi is going to come join us probably when he finishes drinking his homebrewed rum. Hopefully, if any of you guys want to jump on and have a chat as well, that'll be great. I will also poke he who did not toast the iHub Mavale Doggies to see if he feels like hopping onto the show. Other than that, look, I guess if it's just me for now, we might as well get on and, G'day.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Phantomite, previously of Same Great Taste, currently of Snuffed Out, and hopeful CSM candidate next year.
Hey, we got another CSM candidate, mate. Awesome. That is something near and dear to my heart, considering the fact that a lot of the long-running CSM candidates at the moment won't be running next year because they've hit their 3-year term. So it's going to be really good to see some fresh blood and new eyes in the CSM personally, instead of the same people.
Not entirely fresh. I have served 1 year already. I just didn't make it this year.
Oh well, mate. Look, fingers crossed for next year.
Well, I mean, maybe that would be a bad thing. Some people don't like me.
Look, man, I could absolutely hate your guts, and as long as you're going to do something that will benefit the game, then in my eyes, go for it.
There's the real deal. That's what I really want to get done.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And Malachi's just joined us, but I think he has to organise his push to talk buttons because I know he absolutely hates them.
Do you know there's two types of people who use voice activation. There are those who absolutely know what they're doing, have a decent microphone, know where to put it in relation to their face, and then we've all met them. There are some people who use voice activation who stick the microphone up their nose and they never learn.
Well, you're also forgetting the people who use voice activation while sitting in the outtake valve of a 747 jet engine.
Or insist that EVE Online is played in a room that's entirely tiled.
Oh, joy. Alright guys, well, you've just joined us, so I'll go over the topics if you're not actually watching the stream at the moment. So the three spicy clickbait topics is AOM folding and Ranger Regiment getting kicked out of... folding into Ranger Regiment getting kicked out of Imperium. Fraternity's only attacking AOM because Fulcrum's currently in hospital. And my computer caught fire.
Now, I was going to say something about... saying that they were folding, but now I'm interested to hear how your computer caught fire.
That one's actually pretty simple. It looks like I had fluid capacitors. One of them popped and put electrolyte all throughout the power supply when the computer was on, so obviously highly corrosive and the word that means that it, like water, conductive, highly corrosive and conductive fluid spread across everything, and like all the plastic components and everything melted. It was pretty crazy.
Oh, lovely! And what better era in PC hardware to have something fail and need to buy some new stuff than now?
Yeah, well, I'm very happy that my housemate, thankfully, was building a computer a couple of years ago and decided he was just going to get a laptop instead. So he had an an 850-watt PCU laying in his cupboard, in unopened in the shrink wrap, I was able to be like, "Can I use this so I can have my show tonight?" Otherwise, I would have been offline. There you go. Malachi's worked his buttons out. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good man. I got there finally.
How's the rum treating you?
I overindulged a little bit last night, so today's just a quiet one or two, I think.
Wow. Oh, here's the other thing. How was the yacht race?
Yeah, the yacht race was good, man.
You're talking, so you didn't die, so there's obviously a positive.
Yeah, there was one moment coming around a place called Tasman Island, which is southeast corner of Tasmania. 45 knot winds, 5 meter swells. If you Google Tasman Island, it looks like a bit of coastline straight out of Game of Thrones, right? And it was a pretty hectic few hours coming around there.
Wow, real adventurers on today.
Yeah, I was pretty keen. The last time we had the show was before the holidays. Malachi said that during the holidays he'd be doing, what was it, 3-4 days at sea on the yacht?
Yeah, it was a three-day yacht race. Yeah, it ended up taking us 3 days.
So did you win? That's the real question.
So the race is broken into 3 stages. We won the first stage and then got wiped across the floorboards for the next couple of stages. So no, unfortunately, we did win one prize, but
well, look, mate. At least you won. You didn't get the wooden spoon for all 3. You weren't the Rabbitohs.
I did learn a new life skill, which was one night, no wind, tide and current going the wrong way. Trying to navigate via GPS when the boat's actually going backwards and you don't realize. So the GPS on your navigation's like telling you the boat's pointing 180 degrees the other way.
Shit.
In the middle of the night with no cloud cover, no stars, no moon to kind of get your bearings. Yeah, that's a whole new life skill, trying to navigate off a GPS that's 180 degrees the wrong way.
You say life skill, it sounds like a nightmare to somebody incredibly inland like myself.
Yeah. So we're going backwards at like three knots towards the coastline, like towards an island. So no.
I mean, technically, that's quite fast, right?
Yeah, there's this. So you go between this bit of coastlines between a decently, like a really big island and the kind of place I live. But yeah, middle of the night, dead calm, no wind. And yeah, we ended up having to go old school and trying to find like a lighthouse off in the distance to get our bearings and use that as a reference point to navigate. It was quite interesting.
Sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look, we might as well start talking about the first topic if you guys are interested at the moment, which is AOM folding into Ranger Regiment, flipping all their SOV and structures to Vindy and Red Alliance.
People say folding into Ranger, but from an outsider's perspective,
they're the same people in Serenity.
Well, not quite. What I mean is, we say folding into, but essentially the Imperium accusation makes it sound like it's more like Ranger folded into AOM, but kept the name.
Yeah.
In the way it's been presented, and indeed, if that's the truth of the matter, then I guess that's actually a pretty rude thing to do to that coalition, is to swap the entire leadership of a group like that. A little bit of a Trojan horse entry to the Imperium.
I mean, that does also go on to the second topic, because apparently Fulcrum's been in hospital since late December. So did he even have a say in any of this, or is he going to come back and be like, yo, where the fuck's my alliance, bro?
I mean, I'm sure we can have an entertaining time, speculating, but any information around that would just be complete speculation.
Yeah, time will tell. It's going to be interesting to see. So for those of you who aren't aware
we all wish him well.
Alright, let me see here. I have Matani's response somewhere. Oh, cool. Apparently, someone from Fraternity may actually be joining us, which for the show, which would be absolutely fantastic. So we can get another view on this from Fraternity's side. Because as I said, guys, like if you guys aren't aware, this isn't a echo chamber. Everyone's welcome. My co-host accepts that he's being like a young 20-year-old out drinking and stuff, is a goon, Luke Twa, but he's fuck knows where at the moment. So hopefully we get someone from Fraternity. I'd love someone from Army of Mangoes to jump on as well. That'll be really cool so we can try to get the side, like, you know what I mean? There's 5 different views from everything. You know, you got he said, she said, they said, the truth, and what everyone else assumes.
I'd like to know what sort of the rules and feelings are in, you know, in, for instance, Test or Goons or all sorts of places where people kind of sneak their way into it outside of the normal rules for controlling entry to groups like this. I can certainly speak with some much smaller scale experience with Snuffed Out over the years.
Oh, you mean with like views on shows and that kind of thing, and talking to the enemy, so to speak?
Views more on sort of people skipping due process to get in. Now, on I won't go down as far as on individual people joining corporations and alliances, but obviously this is a giant number of players merging into another group, which on the face of it, I'm sure is absolutely okay. But I guess the real question here is, you know, how are they allied? How weren't they allied? What does this mean for them?
I think it's just common courtesy, though, right? Like my corp has certainly. Geez, I reckon in the last 2 years we've had two AUTZ corps merge into our corp, and we would certainly not, like, it skips the recruitment process, but there's no way we would do that without flagging it with, the people at the top. It's just not especially like they were merging from groups who, and I think sometimes it's more of a problem when people are blue, right? Because they get into this poaching territory and.
Well, I mean, you know, this is a bit of a sweeping generalization, but, you know, I mean, poaching in real life and in EVE Online really. I wish there were more opportunities for drama and falling out in EVE Online.
I mean, there's
you know
a
what
fair
I
bit
mean?
of drama going on at the moment. So give me 1 second, and I'll put on the ping from Matani. This went out to Goonswarm. I got this thankfully from Redline. So if any of the people who know who I'm talking about, this isn't from you guys. This is from Redline.
I mean, what I got from this ping when I read it last night wasn't so much that a bunch of people have joined, and it's more that the leadership of this group felt has been swapped out, which is obviously quite the Trojan horse.
Yeah. Well, considering the fact that Ranger Regiment and Imperium, as far as I'm able to tell, because you ever ask an Imperium member who your allies are, and they're like, oh, no one but the Imperium and maybe Initiative on occasion. Like, they'll never admit who they're actually friendly and blue with.
Is the Initiative not counting as the Imperium now for some reason?
Apparently, from, like,
it never has, has it?
Yeah, they're just friends and cannon fodder.
Well, that sounds like a load of bollocks.
I mean, I'm just going off from an outsider's view. Yeah.
Okay.
So, because there's been a couple of times when we've been like, where people have jumped on the show, or we've seen pings, and it's always the Imperium and Initiative. Like in a lot of pings that go out, okay, guys, look, Goons in the Initiative, we're going to go do this. It's never It's
That
always
sounds like
and.
propaganda.
Oh, these are pings coming.
That sounds like deep-seated propaganda.
These are pings coming straight from the horse's mouth. So, as I said, I am impartial
Which
to
horse?
this.
Which horse?
I can't reveal my relays. I'll get in shit. I won't be able to use them
Yeah,
anymore.
but which group did the pings come? Which group were the
Goons.
pings sent from? Right. Okay, so it's propaganda.
But anyway, so going off this, we can come back to that. It's just at the moment. So it looks like, as you said, the problem that the Imperium have at the moment with AOM, quote unquote, folding into Ranger Regiment is the fact that it's a leadership swap. So people who have in Ranger Regiment who have come up with, oh god, I'm trying to English it. I was up till 8 a.m. in the morning with all the fucking computer shit, so I'm a bit frazzled. So it looks like the people who Imperium have made deals with in Ranger Regiment might not actually be in power anymore, and that is what's kind of causing this issue. Or one of the issues, anyway.
Yeah, I get that. That's not okay.
Yeah, like, I can actually understand, like, goons and all that jazz, but, when you've got a group like Ranger Regiment, you've come up with, agreements and contracts, whatever you want to call them, between various Diplos. And for that suddenly swapping, as someone said in the Twitch chat, it's very similar to a coup, as in the entire leadership's been flipped.
Unless, of course, but this is conjecture. This is complete conjecture. Unless, of course, they always had secret strong ties.
I wouldn't necessarily say secret.
I mean,
I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think people have a habit of reading too much into shit as well as. It may also be, here's an opportunity to cut some dead weight we didn't want anyway.
This is interesting. If you look at the fourth paragraph, I've informed Ranger Regiment that they have 7 days of blue standing, which will not apply to the RTAC A Keepstar. So that's the RTAC ARKN Keepstar that...
Is that the one that was transferred to Ranger Regiment?
I believe so. I don't know. Last
That
time
makes sense.
Last time I saw it, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was streaming the Fraternity versus AOM fight on it like a day or two ago. And at that time, it was AOM. But it does say on here earlier today, AOM transferred their Keepstar to us, as this ping comes from Matani. So apparently, they transferred the Arkan Keepstar to Imperium. So, which is going to be, which is interesting, which is going to be interesting. As I said, this was pinged from Mitani to whatever channel their version of Infowars/General is. So it's going to be interesting.
Freak FX in the channel. What a stretch of your imagination to try and justify there being less drama and conflict in the game. Seriously.
Yeah, look, guys, for those of you who know me, I stay the fuck away from office politics. At the very beginning of this show, I admitted that the topics are going to be very clickbaity and spicy, but in my opinion, if AOM's doing this to stay alive and to keep playing the game and having fun, then power to them. And I completely understand Goon's view on this of suddenly having, people swap places and alliance leadership get swapped without any notification, just out of the blue.
It's a funny one though, right? Because you would way rather have AOM on your ticket than Ranger Regiment. Over the last 2 years, Ranger Regiment has just gone through a series of failure after failure, whereas AOM got left in a pretty interesting political position after the war. I certainly know which of their core groups I would rather have on my side. So it's quite a interesting knee-jerk reaction from the Imperium side. There's some interesting speculation on why you would make that knee-jerk reaction.
I mean, look, the Matani has been accused of many, 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 many things, and sitting back and considering something before he launches into a tirade about it has never been one of them. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I mean,
Like, would you rather have AOM or RR?
AOM.
Yeah.
I fought with, like, Malachi, you and I fought with Fulcrum when they actually showed up in the Delve War. And Fulcrum's a nice bloke, and AOM appear to be a good bunch. So yeah, I'd definitely rather AOM than Ranger Regiment.
Yeah, which then you go, why the knee jerk reaction? Is it just pure knee jerk, or is it a it's a funny one.
I guess this is just going to be one of those time will tell, see what happens. Look, I do wish Ranger Regiment AOM the best, as always. The more people that leave the game means less people to shoot, you know? But
Yeah.
I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, this only came out, if I remember correctly, at like this morning. This was announced at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, like Sydney time. So it's still relatively new. Probably a lot of the CNTZ leadership and stuff of AOM has been asleep. And they'll be waking up, or they're probably awake. It's only like 6 p.m. there, but they're only probably going to be getting on soon. So I guess in the next 24 hours, we're going to get a lot more context into this as, pings go out, PMs are sent, Diplos are talked to. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds.
I just tried to DM Fulcrum. I hadn't talked to him for a while, and I can no longer DM because I no longer share a server with him.
Yeah, I tried to do the same.
Yeah. I don't think last time I DM'd him, I don't think we shared a server, but he might have changed to friends only.
It's also I noticed with Discord if that they only hold so many of the messages in the bar, and if he's dropped below that, you won't be able to message him if you don't share a server.
Okay, or unless you're friends.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. Actually, thought I had Fulcrum as a friend.
I'd like to make a little opinion-based point, just speaking to Freak in chat there. Skullduggery, backroom dealing, betrayals are what drove this game.
Yeah.
From day one all the way through until the era of gigablocks and comparative stability. All of the skullduggery and arseholery to each other has been the catalyst for all of the major interesting conflict stories that have appeared on news websites and in magazines and on forums that have attracted the most players over the years. It is the core of intrigue in EVE Online for people to constantly be screwing each other over.
Delete
and you can say toxicity and distrust, but the toxicity is absolutely the problem of the players exhibiting toxicity, rather than a problem to be solved by reducing skullduggery and betrayal.
I mean, there is a line between just trash talk and toxicity, and just being an absolute cunt as well. So, like,
yeah.
A lot of people throw toxicity around, but if I turn around and, blow up Malachi's fleet and go, haha, you're a fucking shit FC, that's just a bit of shit talk. I'm not being toxic. If he blows me up and I start throwing slurs and stuff at him, that's toxic. At least that's my view on that word.
That would be a problem with you rather than with the act of betrayal and in-game mockery.
Yeah. I mean, people can be betrayed. I've been scammed before during the early years of EVE, and I turned around and went, look, well fucking played. I didn't see that coming. Instead of going, oh, fuck you, I wanna fuck your mum, and I wanna kill you in game, and I'm gonna steal all your shit and everything. I was just like, look, mate, well played. I lost a couple $100 million-esque in a scam.
And look, you're here today. It's part of the rich tapestry of why we play EVE Online.
There's no other game
Do you
like
think
it.
that's? Do you think it's just been like game theory that like there's two things at play there? I think where it's like it's the game and the way relationships build over time. It just plays out that I mean, you can only backstab majorly once, right? And then your name's trashed.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's
you
and that
say that people have done
yeah, I know, but
terrible things and then still had a career in EVE Online
yeah,
afterwards.
100%. But like the opportunity for that to occur over time narrows, especially when you build a game you change a game that's more about M+1, where for my group to survive and thrive, I need to be part of a big block, and there's only so many big blocks. So it's
And that's a problem.
That's
a problem.
now
and I don't know which one's the chicken and which one's the egg, right? That's the hard part to figure out.
Stability is the enemy of fun in this game.
Yeah, I'm all for like you shouldn't be able to run a group of 10,000 people easily, let alone a group of 50,000 people. Like there's something really wrong with that dynamic. And I've got ridiculous ideas like just delete the ESI.
Oh, mate, you are speaking my language. I wish so hard that there was far less instant intel in this game.
It's not the instant intel, it's the ability to vet people and
Oh,
connect
for automation.
and connect them to
Yeah.
their Discord account and all
This
this
is
kind of
actually
it's
this
part
is
of the
actually an interesting topic because it's very, very difficult to argue against what can be construed as quality of life changes.
yeah. But if automation just allows efficiency for that shouldn't exist, right?
I think that automation, one aspect that it touches upon in an unhealthy way for the state of the game, is there's a lot of things that have been automated away that previously asked that you trust people.
Mm-hmm.
Trust in EVE Online is one of our available toys. And traditionally, in the past, trust has been a toy that smaller groups have been able to play with. And as you got bigger, that toy becomes unavailable to you because you've just got too many people to manage.
Yeah, I think there's a
So
lot of
you lose the toys that require trust. I mean, one key thing that comes to mind is with the addition of citadels and tethering with an access list. It replaced a highly trust-based system, which previously large groups had to use, which was POS passwords. Exactly, yeah. You know exactly where I'm going with this. So smaller groups had the toy, and as you got bigger, you either didn't have the toy, or the toy could be used against you. And that was a nice natural disadvantage for groups that would hire anyone, you know?
Yeah, it introduces an ecosystem, right?
It's a social aspect of the game that is a problem that you have to deal with as you get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a problem that scales.
Yeah, I think that type of stuff, and I've spoken about this before. I think where it's someone needs to set what the direction for the game is, and if it is to be the mega coalition game, then someone just needs to articulate that and state it so that we don't have to sit in this kind of twilight zone of wondering what the game actually wants to be. But yeah, there's a lot you could do to smash blocks apart.
Could one of you just do me a favor and turn me down? Apparently, I'm coming through noticeably louder.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. One moment.
Thank you. But yeah, I think that this is one aspect. I mean, anybody who knows me will be at this point potentially absolutely sick of me going on about citadels the whole time. But I strongly believe that there are multiple different subjects about citadels that are huge problems, multiple subjects that are individually cause huge problems with the game. And I believe that fixing citadels is the single biggest piece of the puzzle to getting EVE Online back to a state of endless conflict and fun.
Yeah, conflict drivers is the citadels are just not fun conflict drivers
Well,
in the least.
they are conflict dampeners.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I mean, I have an opinion. Well, fuck, I'm an arsehole, so I've obviously got an opinion. But and I've mentioned it before. I know Malachi's heard me say it, but I seriously think that your like trust is worth more than ISK and EVE. I can have all the ISK in the entire fucking game, but if no one trusts me to do anything in the game, then it's what's the point? You know, people are gonna always watch my back. You won't get as many opportunities to progress or do things in the game because people are gonna be like, "Nah, fuck that guy. He's a dodgy cunt."
I think a part of what Vandermite's saying though is that, like, I don't
Opportunities to exercise that trust or lack of trust have slowly been eroded.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree there. It took a lot of effort, I think, for Tess to finally trust me. It took an entire goddamn fucking war for them to finally be like, okay, this guy's not going to stab us in the back. So I definitely understand that it is a lot harder to build that trust. But at the same time, on the flip side of that coin, when you finally build that trust, if you betray it, you're next to like fucking nutters of ever trying to get it back.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is slowly slipping in. This is slowly slipping into distant history. But at the end of World War B, a number of people remember myself, offlining Pos Shield to do an AWOX on Shadow Cartel and blow up a couple of supers and a Titan. But since then, you know, I've stuck around. I feel that, well, I've already served a CSM term, you know, and gained a following that hopefully will get me back in to continue working next election. And quite frankly, I think that overall, having done something like that simply drove the conflict in the game forwards. It created a 2-year long. It caused Snuffbox Snuffed Out to split in half, and for one group to be so angry that they formed their own alliance, who based their entire existence on hatred of Snuffed Out, and caused a 2-year war. I think that this kind of betrayal is necessary to the health of the game.
Yeah, I understand that, but there's also different layers and levels of betrayal. Like AWOXing and blowing up a couple of Titans in a pos is one thing, but being pissed off with someone and destroying an entire alliance, flipping all sovereign structures to that alliance's enemy, and like stealing the entire alliance asset, like that's obviously the extreme end of the the backstabbing skullduggery thing. And I think it reaches a point along that gradient, along that spectrum, where it's like, okay, once you reach this point and you've done this, go fuck yourself. But the problem I think with that nowadays are with skill injectors is you could absolutely black hit list yourself from everything, just mulch your character into skill injectors, skill injector another character, stick on a voice filter or something if your voice is well known, and you can start from scratch and no one will know who the fuck you are unless they really dug into it.
And I know that there are people who'd be willing to do that, but personally, I don't understand. Well, okay, better. I personally don't think I'm capable of pretending to be a completely different person.
People would take one look at my writing and my very colourful language and be like, "Oi, I know who the fuck you are." So, which group split off actually? Because during World War B1, I was winning EVE. So when you said that Snuff split, what was the other group whose whole sole entity is to hate you guys?
saying that their sole so that their alliance was based upon hatred of Snuffed Out is indeed my personal opinion. However, my biased opinion feels that that's likely to be objectively true. But that was escalating entropy. They called themselves escalating entropy, and they gained a huge number of members. And see, Tainted's going to have some more info for us um, in Twitch chat. Tainted, I believe you were a member of Escalating Entropy at the time, so maybe he can fill in some of these blanks here that I will have missed. But
I
they
tried to
split
get
off.
him on the show. He said no.
They split off. They allied with Shadow Cartel and moved a little bit further away. And yeah, it was we were close enough that it was a constant state of baiting each other and fighting over some border structures.
Okay. I mean, it's all these stories. It's, these backstab, betrayal, backroom deals. These guys flipping in the middle of a fight to these guys. Like it's what makes the history of Eve such the rich tapestry that it is.
Yeah, because we sat here and built Titans for 4 years while saying that because we had more Titans, we had won is not a story.
Not really, no. The fact that we
But
fielded them
we
and shot each
and
other.
we used them is.
Yeah. Like, I still remember the days of alliance subsidies to help pay to get people Titans and skill books and Plex their account and stuff. When,
Awesome.
some alliances only had 2, 3, 4 Titans.
Still
Like,
happens.
yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. But it's like now you look at it with the the big blocks, say, and like my CEO Suis, I think the fucker's got like 12, just floating around on his different characters. Like we've come a long way from back then when building and making 4 Titans for your alliance was like, oh shit, that's massive. Now it's just like 4 Titans. And it kind of sucks. I understand. I think that's why CCP is doing a lot of the changes is to try to stop that power creep. But I personally think there's other ways to go around it. I don't know what they are, but I just hope there are.
I'll do a U-turn straight back to that previous junction. I believe that the state of citadels as they are currently provides an extremely solid foundation, which is what provides the ability to be incredibly stable, which is the problem.
Yeah,
Don't forget, people used to do just fine and go to war all the time and own Sov with one single dockable structure per system.
Yep. And they didn't have tether. If you undocked and it was an ejection system, ejection station,
To be
and
fair,
someone was there with a bubble, you were fucked.
I mean, how many of the outposts were kickouts though? To be honest,
Oh,
they all had reasonable docking rings, right?
There were a couple that I remember staging out of that were just cancerous for undocking capitals.
And would they have been outposts or NPC stations?
Probably NPC stations. I mean, a lot of player-owned stations were made specifically.
Let me get a list of the outpost structures up, and I'll see if I can figure out from the pictures.
Yeah, Taint's saying the game is now haves and have-nots. That's definitely true. It's the people who got a shit ton of this during the gold rushes and those who missed out.
It's just like ISK's just a accumulation over time, right? The longer you play this game, the wealthier you get, the less ISK matters to you. It's your friends stop playing, they give you all their stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone who's been playing this game for 5 years plus has inherited a reasonable amount of wealth.
No, I've been playing since 2012, and that is not the case for me.
You should learn how to make friends, Cal.
Yeah,
I'm perfectly willing to just endlessly bash this drum and say that the stability is the reason that that is what has caused people to be able to groups to be able to gather essentially unassailable wealth.
I think the real the classic during the last whatever you want to call the last big war was the ability to be 100% deployed but still defend a vast swath of space on the other side of the map
Yeah, but against who, really? When most of nullsec is involved in one front.
Well, actually,
Well,
against who are
Malachi's pretty
defending?
good on this one, because during the war you had to go back to
yeah,
your
I was
home.
the
Yeah.
guy running the time zone, right? Had to go back and do it, but it's it's more that it takes so fucking long. So I don't care if you RF that thing. I'm going to come back and defend it in 2 days' time. Like and you're touching on it as well, Phantomitis. Like 3 timers, I can just punt this, come back and do that. There's just things aren't dynamic enough, and that's my biggest gripe with the game is that shit should happen rapidly. Like,
I mean, of course, it being on opposite sides of the galaxy is another symptom of the gigablock in the modern era.
yeah,
By their very design, it's attractive for them to be opposite each other on the map rather than next to each other on the map.
but
Because
when
it's a race of accumulation rather than a race of military defeat.
Mhm, yeah,
You know,
Going back to
if there were
something.
many more groups but they were smaller, they would be closer together, and you know, it wouldn't be the opposite side of the galaxy to get home to defend when you're attacking a neighbor.
Going back to something you said earlier, fan of mine, kind of touching on this one. I don't think there are any FCs or like, I don't want to say good FCs, but FCs who have been FCing a lot, who would disagree with you in saying that citadels are definitely a problem.
Well, we all remember High12's post on Reddit saying, "Hey CCP, we don't like citadels," that was signed by giant numbers of major FCs from entirely across the board of EVE Online.
didn't he do a post about how we hate cheap dreads as well?
How he hated cheap dreads.
No,
Well, I can tell you very much that Snuffed Out is still quite miffed at the price of dreads being so high.
that was tongue in cheek that they took away something
Okay.
no one asked for, and have done nothing about the thing everyone wants something done about.
I know someone who's going to be campaigning for the CSM on the platform, the Citadels, or maybe even a couple. Might be using that as a platform.
Three now. You can count me.
I'm just going to campaign based on the fact that I can be an absolute cunt when I want to be.
Look, I can definitely vouch for that. And I'm pretty sure Suez Cat as well, with the mumble incidents.
Fucking cowards. Yeah, if you want more drama, Phantomite, I can certainly help in that department.
To answer Freak, I do. I think we did. There were a couple of systems that I know the was it Bastion and Frt'S and stuff took with our keep stars. We're still able to defend them. I think we would have lost a piece of the north of ESO, but I think we still would have been able to keep most of Esoteria, but that wasn't my decision to make. So we didn't keep it. We could have. We didn't.
Anyway, we've been over these topics a lot, Kale. What were your other clickbaits?
Fraternity's only attacking AOM because Fulcrum's in hospital. That's probably the most spiciest of them.
I mean, he's going to attack him whether he's in hospital or not, though, right?
Oh, sure, but it's like, so we were talking about it in the New Eden Post Discord. It'd be, so AOM is definitely one of those alliances of a cult of personality kind of situation. The same as fraternities for Norris, AOM for Fulcrum, Dreadbomb for Seto. Like, when your big name is gone for whatever reason, whether it's real life, just because they've quit the game or something's going on, they don't function very well. They start falling apart. They start stressing out, which causes issues. And that's definitely something that's going to happen with AOM at the moment without Fulcrum at the reins. And we can see this now with like the way they have been since mid-December, and stupid decisions have made, the issues, down to 12 hours ago when they folded.
But are we saying people shouldn't take strategic advantage when an FC goes AFK for 3 months, or is it a
see that's definitely the touchy topic. Like, where do you sit there and go, personally, I don't want to fight these people because I know that their star player is off the bench.
But then it becomes a strategic,
exactly.
Vinny D turns around and goes, "Oh, I've been in hospital for the last 4 months and we've lost the war. You should reset it and let us win the war."
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, where that's the spiciness of this topic.
Yeah,
is like, how do you balance it? Do you just be a prick and go, haha, fuck you, you're in hospital, I'm going to use this to my advantage?
No, you don't bag someone out for being in hospital. You play the game and go and attack the thing and play the game. Like, it's got nothing to. You got to separate the person from the.
There's a balance.
Game, right? Yeah,
there's a balance, right? And I don't think it's possible for any of us to draw exactly where the correct line is between these things. But on the one hand, I think the most you could say for sure is that it's lame to attack because somebody is having a temporary real life problem. But at the same time, we all have real life problems, and this is a game. You don't deny yourself playing the game because somebody on the other side can't play at this moment. We don't all just pause. It's like, whoa, everybody stop fighting. The Mittani has gone on holiday for a week. Everybody stop fighting. And
it's not the Australian government. ScoMo's on holidays. Yeah. Everyone hold up.
Yeah.
these aren't.
But it's not like FRT were blue to them and reset them because of the opportunity to take advantage. It's like those guys were always shooting each other in the face.
I mean, I was talking to someone, one of their directors actually, Luke Aninen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly. And they said that when AOM and Fraternity first came to Tranquility, there was a nip in place, but it was during the Detroit War that it all fell apart, and that's when they started shooting each other. Because they had an agreement, and I can't really remember, I think it was AOM decided to go help someone that they agreed not to, and that's what caused the schism on Tranquility at the moment, was during the Detroit War.
Fuck knows how the Chinese political landscape works.
I had a look into it, and I'm just noping out of that thing with a 40-foot pole. Just nope.
Yeah, like when Fraternity first rocked up on Tranquility, and I think Wind Spirits was running it. VDD our corp was very close and still very good friends with Wind Spirits and a bunch of other people. And even at that time, I failed to understand the politics. Trying to. Good luck to anyone who can piece it together properly.
Fuck Malachi, we've been on fleets where Norris and Fulcrum were shooting each other while we're fighting goons, and they're all laughs and smiles and jokes on comms while their fleets are ripping each other apart, and we're sitting there going, what the fuck?
Yeah, how does this work?
I mean, something to think about also is that every single long surviving successful group in EVE Online. Well, first of all, every successful group is based around a cult of personality. Every single one. And the groups with a good cult of personality that just keep going and going and going are resilient enough with their core personalities that keep things going that they can tag each other in and out to keep people interested and on board. If your group's cult of personality has a single point of failure, then unfortunately human reality is that if that point fails, well, yeah, that's what's happened. Then they're not there. It's gone. We've all got the opportunity, especially in quite large groups, we've all got the opportunity to ensure that we have a more resilient set of people who are the cult of personality.
As being in test, having ProGod step down from the limelight, having Villy leave test, I definitely can attest to the fact that it has been a difficult transition because even though like Villy wasn't our alliance leader, he was in the eyes of everyone. Like everyone knows that Sapo's like the executor of Test, but you know his background where Villy was the face, and having the face leave, it has definitely been tricky. But I think I'm lucky in the fact that even though Villy was like definitely a cult of personality around him and everything, that we still are able to have FCs like Carmen and Sandra and I'm loath to say this, Jeremy and Now and like the rest of the Diva blokes, the Black Omega guys, like our entire FC team is definitely pulled together to try to keep people interested in playing, and it's been an uphill, but we're fucking pushing that cart.
Shouldn't be that hard.
Fair enough.
Well, I think that's the problem. Like, how do we stop our alliances from only joining certain people's fleets? You know, only okay. Well, if it's such and such, I'm not joining them. But if it's this person, I'm definitely going.
This is a catch-22 problem, because to get people to join somebody else's fleet, that person needs to show those people a good time, but he can only show those people a good time if they join his fleet.
Yeah, it's definitely a catch-22. I saw that starting out FCing in Test. I went from 5, 10, 15 people in my fleets to by the end of the war I was able to fill one. So
there is a way
it's
to
definitely
deal
a lot
with
of
this.
work.
Yeah.
There's a way to break this cycle, and
don't treat them like trash.
No. No, what you can do is, while the big cult of personality is FCing, there are always things that need to be delegated down to other people to, oh, I need you to target call, I need you to take this wing and do something else, that kind of
I
thing.
need you to
And
anchor
that
because I'm
is
webbed.
exactly, and if you are doing a task in a fleet that requires that you do a slice of the actual FCing, where you are talking and helping to make decisions yourself as well, then that is in front of a lot of people, building confidence in you, and that's how you. That's in my mind the easiest path to getting people to be on board with what you want to command them to do.
I kind of have an issue with that though, and Malachi can say it too, because I've been yelled at a few times in Pappy comms for quote unquote sitting there and saying nothing. And because so the story behind it was there was a whole bunch of FCs and we're all running fleets, and I was running one of the fleets, and everyone was talking in the Pappy Discord when the fight was going on, and I spoke up, and someone was like, "Why the fuck are you even here? Like, are you just sitting here and listening and not doing anything?" And I'm like, "No, I am the FC of the Test fleet. It's just I'm not going to spurg up comms, and I've got nothing important to say at the moment."
Yeah, that's a whole.
I'm not currently performing a role that requires I be noisy.
Yeah,
Well, that's a whole different. That's a whole different problem when you're getting into like, coordination comms as well as running your own fleet comms, and that's not the same problem, right? As far as developing your own fleet numbers,
well, no,
that's
it's
how do you
when I'm on a
build-
fleet with someone else, I don't like to talk over them to the fleet because it's their fleet. I don't want to take it off them, and that's kind of it's just that kind of mentality I've got off. Like if I jump on a backseat hover or something, I'll let him call the shots. Like if he wants me to target call, I'll target call, but I'm not going to give orders because it's not my fleet. I'm here to help, not lead.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Like our corp is built around having like 4 or 5 competent FCs that we FC as a team, right? It's never
Yeah.
really. If I have to FC as a solo endeavor, I find it really fucking annoying. But when you got 4 or 5 good friends doing it, and you're switching in and out of those roles, it means that any one of those people pings, people turn up because they know it's the team doing it. I guess that's what you need. You kind of need to figure out with those people.
I'd
Like
love that, but there aren't that many AUFCs in Test. Like it was really, I got to admit, one of the cool things of being in the war with Pappy and flying with you guys was seeing that. Like
the thing you learn is that like pure FCs are few and far between. If you ask me, it's anyone can call targets. It's the easiest job out there, and it's the one that gets you the most street credit in a fight. Right, you're sitting there blapping munin after munin after munin, and it's your voice doing it.
Don't be so sure that it's necessarily particularly. Well, okay, I think target calling is
I know
easy, but good target calling is
when you just
context-based target
sorry.
calling is better.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is I can take anyone from my corp and do a Ferox v Ferox brawl at 0 and get them to call targets and do it successfully.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with, do I have critical mass to break things? What do I need to break first? Like we will always just coach people, like in our command comms, and go, I need you to broadcast simmies now. Okay, get it done. But it's taking those roles and having a group of people that are happy to share it around that breaks down that cult of personality a bit as well, where it's not Elo Knight, it's not Pro God Legend who's doing the thing. It's like VD when we're doing it, it's VDD's FCing this fleet.
Fucking Pro God. You're calling wrong. This is how you do it. Shoot this, shoot this, shoot this.
I mean, you know, we can say that it's not appropriate to backseat FC, but I'm sure we have all at some point been in a situation or heard somebody else where you simply have to take over.
Yeah.
Even sort of, you know, without any sorry, I need to take over. You just take over and tell somebody to shut up, and sort out the pleasantries later.
Yeah, that's just people who don't delegate, right? You get into that sticky situation where I haven't got my probe set up, and now I've got to deal with 2 fleets landing on grid, and which one do I go after? And people freeze.
Yeah, that was it's definitely a learning curve in your FC career path. Trying to get past that. Oh, wait, there's a Sino lights next to you. A fleet pops out. There's a fleet suddenly logging on in the structure you're shooting. You're pincered between the two. It's like, what do you do? Do you run? Do you fight? Can you kite? You know, it's like, what do I do? And trying to sound like you're not falling apart to the fleet, so that way they stay confident and keep shooting. It's, oh boy, that's a lot of plate spinning.
Yeah, it's a fun. It gets easy.
Gets easy with time.
It gets really easy. Like you just know what your engagement window is, and if you fall outside of that window, you just go to your exit plan and
you get the fuck out of the dodge. Yeah.
burn into the bubble that's got 30,000 fighters on it. Pando set up with 100 bombers and whatnot. It's always a good choice.
Yeah. Flashbacks, man, of Vietnam.
The PTSD.
Yeah. We had a discussion when we were streaming the Fraternity AOM fight. They kept warping to Rex, and I'm like, don't warp to a Rex. If they've got bombers, that's the entire fleet gone, man. Why are you warping to 0 at a Rex? No! Thomas, when he lost his entire Serb fleet, walked to 0 on a gate and got tick bombed. You know, like, we all got to learn the hard way.
Man, they need to deal with fucking tick bombing on gates. It's ridiculous.
It's a valid strategy.
I mean, it's like fucking attacking someone's alliance when they're in hospital, right? There's nothing you can do, you can do about it. It's like, but that's not lame.
I told you it would be a spicy topic.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily particularly spicy. It's just kind of, you know, just things being said that just facing some real facts about this kind of stuff. Like sometimes people go to hospital, you know.
I mean,
deal with it.
in Frt'S defense, Luke did say that they had already deployed before they found out. And it seems pretty on point because there wasn't like any big announcement. Fulcrum's still been posting until like the end of last month from hospital. So they had no idea to know because it isn't like he's going to message Norris and be like, don't shoot me, I'm in hospital or something.
Someone in the comments made an interesting point where like national holidays are another interesting one where people line up to do things, right? Where it's Europe might have some sort of public holiday, so that gives them an advantage to go and attack the US because they've got that public holiday, and you may not be aware of it as an Australian or whatever. Like that's another one where you're using a.
We did it, if you remember. We pushed one of Satoyo drops during a Chinese public holiday.
everyone's done it for years, but it's an interesting one where, like there are strategic ways that are unfair. But that's what war's all about, right? Is making things unfair.
That, and it's a video game, and we should be fitting the video game around our real lives rather than the other way around. If we want to remain mentally healthy.
I mean,
That is a good point.
I got back in the FC chair yesterday after a couple of months off after the war, just to recharge and play something else. So I can definitely agree that people do need, if you need to step away, if you feel like you need to step away from the game for your your mental health, for personal reasons, do it. Ignore the people who are like, no, don't do it, not yet. Just put yourself first. It's a video game. It'll be there when you come back to your computer.
Yeah.
And
you know what?
I had to burn out to learn that. I had to learn the hard way.
And you know what? I tell you what, I've got a list I've written in front of me here of people who I'd like to recommend take a break for their mental health.
By all means, if you want to drop it, then drop it.
Maybe I should write that list for real.
Is the head of CCP at the top of that list?
It's not your God-given right to have a list, all right?
Do you know what? I think that Hilmar is having an absolutely brilliant multi-year break away from EVE Online, because I think that would explain the direction that he commands.
Yeah, he's made a ton of cash, right? He's living his best life.
Yeah. Who knows? There's been a lot of weird stuff. Okay, here's another one. What do you guys think of the Doctor Who crossover?
It makes me extremely angry, but it's sort of just adding a little bit on the top of the general huge disappointment with the direction of the game.
Just another pile of shit.
I think on the face of it, the massive negative reaction, the scale of the negative reaction, if you look at it out of context, it is a huge overreaction by the players. But in context, it makes complete sense, and people have every right for this to have tipped them over from simmering to boiling over.
But then everyone was pissed off with the Alliance tournament announcement as well, but that ended up being really popular.
Were they? Hold on. Who was pissed off about the Alliance tournament coming back?
So if you remember, this was during Scarcity, and everyone was like, oh, this is going to be the end of Scarcity. This is going to be the end of Scarcity. Yes, they're going to announce it. And they're like, Alliance tournament. And everyone's like, who fucking cares? Get rid of Scarcity. And it was all over fucking Reddit, and people were complaining.
It was the timing, right? It was the countdown timer thing.
Oh dear, for the Doctor Who thing, they're having a countdown. I don't know. I mean, from my experience with huge numbers of players is that the general consensus was of great satisfaction and excitement about the Alliance tournament coming back and then being on and playing out the way it did so nicely.
Just I'm always a little bit antagonistic, but I think Doctor Who I don't have a massive problem with it.
No, I don't think any significant number of people have a problem with Doctor Who. It's just, this is EVE Online. We play EVE Online because we want to be in the EVE Online world. This isn't Fortnite. Are they going to have a Travis Scott concert in Jita or something?
No, then you're just stretching, right?
It's a slippery slope argument, which is technically a logical fallacy. However, going from not muddying the lore of EVE Online muddying the lore of EVE Online.
People have pointed out they've already muddied it. There's a Major Tom floating around in space somewhere, right?
All right, guys, just quickly.
That is extremely different to having a crossover event that is advertised, that is fleshed out, and that is pushed to existing players and to potential other players. That is hugely different. So one is an Easter egg, and one is a full event taking place in the universe.
But the event thing is the bit to think about, right? When I look at the whole thing and go, because people are bitching about it because it's like, why aren't they spending their resources on citadels or fucking something else? But you go,
they are. They are. It's a different team. It'll be the
Yeah,
events or the marketing team. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. They've got this team that is dedicated to building events, whether it's the Christmas event or the
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and that team's just
Which was
being
great, by
utilised.
the way. The Christmas event was brilliant.
But people don't sing a ton of praise on Reddit about that. But so what if they have a bit of fun doing a fucking Doctor Who crossover in
Right.
their,
Okay.
their
Who is the
system,
audience
right?
for this? If it's existing
British
EVE Online
people.
players, British people. If
But I think
if the audience is existing players, then this is not what we're here for. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that typically speaking, we want to see things be in fitting with the universe. If this is external people, if this is meant to appeal to Doctor Who fans to get some of them playing EVE Online, who thinks that some non-EVE players are going to learn the basics of EVE Online to play a 2-week-long reskinned event?
You're assuming it's for an audience.
We
that's your first mistake, right? Is there some sort of commercial thing happening? Maybe whether it's targeted at the Doctor Who audience or the EVE audience doesn't fucking matter if someone's gone, oh look, we'll give you $5 million if you add an event in about our IP, right?
I mean, here's another thing I've never really thought I was going to say, but Jeremy had a good point on the Thursday show when they were bringing this up. So you look at the numbers of people who watch Doctor Who, and you go, okay, so if we get a very low single-digit percentage of this, that's a couple of thousand new players. Then you add the percentage of player attention onto that, and that could be anywhere between a couple hundred to a couple of thousand players who actually stick with playing EVE. It all comes down to whether or not they play this game for the event. They go, hey, this is actually cool. I never thought I'd enjoy this, and they stick with it.
Oh yeah, because the thing that was really stopping these people from playing was that there wasn't a Dalek in space somewhere.
Fuck, who knows?
It doesn't really advertise itself very well, though, does it? So there might be a lot of people that have just never seen EVE or know of it as that cheat game.
Well, maybe here's the problem again for me to go on about my favourite subject again. EVE Online used to endlessly, wildly advertise itself by the stories that the players created, and now it doesn't.
Anyway, Luke, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Luke. I'm part of Fraternity. Kale asked me to pop here. I'm a Brit, so this is kind of early for me. Well, a little bit early for me on a Saturday, but I thought I'd jump in.
It's 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. I was up until have you not been watching what's been going on in the last week? It's been a really long week. But I also couldn't track down one of our AU guys to jump on, so I thought I'll wake up, get a coffee, and jump on.
Right, cool. Well, we had the discussion about AOM joining Ranger Regiment. What's your views on that, or queuing Ranger Regiment, whichever way you want to look at it from whichever angle. Have you read Matani's ping about the merger?
I did. I stared at it for about 5 minutes when it came out, going, "Holy crap!" I think it's an interesting one because I think if you're running an alliance, I can kind of see AOM Ranger Regiment stuff to one side. I can kind of see where it's kind of coming from because it's an alliance larger than the original alliance merging in. So effectively, it's effectively it is a reverse merger, especially if they were keeping their command structure intact. You also got obviously the old history around, does AOM already control Ranger Regiment, which I don't really know the truth of, right? But I could see why, if he wasn't aware, that would create a bit of a weird knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah. Judging from the ping, I don't think he was aware of it. I don't think anyone really was until it happened. I mean, all of a sudden, we saw a whole bunch of Frt'S and structures that we were shooting get swapped over to Vindy. And then, it was just, yesterday, the day before, that the Arark and Keepstar was still AOM, and now apparently it's Imperium?
So that's part of so two of them went to Red Alliance, so ATAC A1 and DTX I think went to Red Alliance, which is kind of the reason why we rushed reinforcing the RTAC A1.
Yeah.
Because obviously we weren't ready for it, right? That's why we left it in bombers. We only started moving the same day. But that's why we kind of rushed that, because we didn't want that to get swapped over and then it kind of go out of reach, because from a player perspective, with a lot of the history of the AOM, you kind of want to at least take a shot at it. And then the 24 hours after that, then we saw it get flipped to goons, and we saw the same thing that everyone else did, which was all of a sudden 23 corps leave AOM and join Ranger Regiment. We kind of thought it was done and dusted, and then 8 hours later that ping came out.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes and everything. Like, are you guys now going to, as fraternity, are you guys now going to start attacking Ranger Regiment because they've got a lot of, or they've got all AOM in it? The leaders may now be leading Ranger Regiment, or you guys going to take a step back, look at the board, and try to work out what you're going to go from here?
I think it's largely to be determined. I think it's step back, see what happens with Ranger Regiment, see if indeed there are members of AOM there that are part of that historic grudge, and then make a judgment call. I don't think we'd rush into a decision though.
That's good to hear. Well, I was half worried you guys were going to beat your head against the RRC and Keepstar and be like, this was AOM, we're going to shoot it anyway, and Goon's going to be like, well, hey, fuck off, that's ours now.
I mean, shooting a Goon Keepstar's not going to be fun for anyone, right? Especially as we haven't really fully deployed yet either.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to admit that from test perspective, having that get a little bit closer to our staging at the moment, it's going to be a bit spicy.
Yeah, I did wonder if there'd been any acknowledgement or realisation that with that flip, as well as with like the Red Alliance ones, then all of a sudden there's a Keepstar chain that now comes all the way up to Faith of Bolus.
I realised it this morning when I saw the ping. I'm pretty sure a lot of the other guys has as well, but there's been nothing really talked about or official. You got to think, it happened at 6 o'clock in the morning for me, so I went to bed like 2 hours after that. And you Euros are just starting to wake up now, so obviously tonight's for me, it's going to, or today for you guys, is going to be all the discussions of, okay, cool, what are we going to do?
Just I will say this, just think how the RR guys feel, because that ping landed at probably like 3 in the morning for them.
Yeah, so a lot of them are going to be waking up to that, being like, what? We've got a week to move out, but anything that is in the RR and Keepstar is free to be shot. So
I think Ranger Regiment's used to everything changing at 2 seconds for them, right?
Well, the Matani's ping looks, from what I was like reading off the Matani ping, is they're blue to move out, but not from that Keepstar. So anything that undocks from the RTAC A Keepstar is free game. And that was their staging Keepstar. Like, we know there are Titans in there because we saw them when you guys were shooting the Keepstar.
AOM's fucked. Lamel.
I think the even awkward bit is for those. So those that were in RR still obviously persisted their standings. There's probably a lot of people that woke up today after dropping and not being in Range Regiment yet, that effectively just sitting in that Keepstar with no docking access and are completely neutral because they hadn't finished transferring yet.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens, who makes what deals. And we go back to the earlier conversation of a lot of the backdoor wheeling and dealing shenanigans. Who's going to join the Imperium just to get their stuff out, then leave? And, it's going to be an interesting couple of days while people try to get their assets out of what was the AOM staging Keepstar.
There's not much chance of that when...
Oh, go on, Luke.
There's not that much chance of them getting out when FRT forms right after downtime. Gets the heat bubbles back up.
I mean, what would you do?
It's literally just FRT's M2 Hellcat. With like a guaranteed rush of kills at the end. There's going to be a pile of bubbles where that Keepstar stood for months.
There's going to be a lot of safety assetting going on.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, it's angry, just said. A lot of asset safeties, which means...
Sorry, who owns the Keepstar at the moment?
Goons.
Goons are going to let FRT kill it, is that what you're saying?
No. So the AOM staging Keepstar in RTAC A was flipped to Goons when they joined, when AOM joined Ranger Regiment. But in Matani's ping, he says, I've informed Ranger Regiment that they have 7 days of blue standing. This will not apply to the RTAC A Keepstar to either leave the Imperium or find new homes for their corporations within the Imperium.
Sorry, I get all that. Goons aren't going to let the Keepstar die though, right?
Probably not, no. That's really strategic for them.
So everyone just asset safeties their shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, but the thing is, as we've seen, are they actually going to, like, there's still going to be a lot of people who are going to attempt to undock and run. So there's definitely going to be some kill mails coming from RTAC A in the next couple of days.
I'm just wondering whether abandonment is on the table. Probably not, but one can hope.
Yeah, that's also a
Nah.
possibility.
Anyone can dump fuel in it, right? That's the problem.
Nope, only people with access to it, though. And if it's goons...
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the other things.
Yeah, like, so if goons feel like it, they could yank all the fuel out of there and wait for it to go abandoned and blow it up themselves and loot pinata it.
Historically, though, we haven't really been one to do that kind of stuff.
Well, that's usually because a lot of the keep stars that were flipped to you, there was an agreement in place, like with the Brave one in GE, of we will sell this to you, but you weren't allowed it to go abandoned. You guys were like, okay. And as many gripes as I have against the Imperium and Goons and stuff, when you guys say okay to something and it's in writing, you stick to it. There was no agreement, as far as I can tell, for the RTAC A Keepstar, which means if you wanted to, it is open game for you guys to abandon and pinata it. So it'll be interesting.
But I don't think that's a very likely thing to happen, to be honest.
We'll see what happens.
There's obviously some way that we came into possession of the Keepstar, probably through some agreement.
Either that, or you guys, or literally your coordination team woke up to just a brand new Keepstar sitting there, and like, wait, where the fuck did this come from?
No, free Keepstar.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, regardless of what happens with the Keepstar, Misaba will be pretty hell camped after this as well in 30 days. Because even if they asset safety, that's where it's all going, right?
Yeah. Which is going to be tricky because I've got a mate who just came back to Eve whose stuff is there that he needs to get out. So
Probably have 30 days then.
yeah, to get the fuck out of Dodge.
What's his name?
Run the
Where
locators.
can I find him?
He's a really good logi bro. He's only got the one account, and he's got all of due to personal reasons he had to stop during the last quarter of the war, so all of his T5Z stuff got safety acided out. So we got to try to dunk in there and get his million fucking scimitars, or probably like 25 simmies and ospreys and stuff out.
Time to start anchoring bubbles in Emerald.
I was just seeing what FreakFX was saying in chat. I don't think necessarily goons would make like every decision. I think in this sort of scenario, it would fall down to the executive of the Imperium to make that decision.
So a couple of months ago, we had Captain Sobin on the show. So Captain Sobin is a Reddit shit poster for Test. And he decided...
Say it like it's a professional job.
Hey man, apparently to people there is Reddit swarm and they get paid Plex for upvotes, so who the fuck knows anymore?
It's true.
So Captain Sobin is like Test version of Dr. Mibbles. And he joined Initiative because he had a bunch of real life mates there. He talked to Tess and Tess was okay with it. He talked to Initiative and Initiative were okay with it. So he went over there, joined Initiative and went to bed. He woke up being told he was getting kicked out of Initiative because members in Goon Swarm had basically turned around and went, you either kick Mibbles out or you're out of the Imperium. You kick Sobin out or you're out of the Imperium. So to answer Freak's question, if that is anything to go off, Goons make the decisions and everyone follows the... how do you guys put it, Luke? Follow the state's opinions, the state's decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I know the Imperium version is follow the state, isn't it?
Yeah.
We say a similar thing in Frat at times, so...
You have the right to vote as you're told.
we don't go quite that far.
That's fucking... Anyway, how have you been, Luke, my wayward co-host?
Well, to be fair, I was away for like Christmas and New Year. You got back a few days ago, so just get back into things.
That's fair.
Built Test Rock.
Oh, when was this?
3 days ago.
Oh, yeah. They die. If they die, they die. I don't think I haven't done mining in a while, and when I do, we've got like a Rorqual on grid for links, and that's like it.
No, make sure to tell me when that is.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So it's it's currently in siege on the Todd Keep star. Just ignore the D date you're spoiling, okay?
I mean, put a super there and I'll think about it.
Hang on, I can undock my Aeon. But yeah, no. So it's going to be really interesting. As I said, just the fact that like personally, Tess is deployed against Red Alliance, and them getting some extra space and structures is going to be annoying because that's more shit you got to fucking shoot.
Looks like you've also got Init down there now as well.
Yeah, we saw they took the iHub and DTAC P. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's a logical system if you look at like jump ranges and everything else.
Well, that's why it was our capital before the war in ESO. DTAC P was, our staging, our home.
So your war is going to become a little bit more interesting, Kale. A bit less one-sided.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Then everyone else moves down and it goes back to the same old shit.
We need another war.
At least it's constantly changing, right?
Shit's boring at the moment. We need another war. I miss living next door to goons and just jumping one gate for a fight. Okay, am I the only one then?
But I've got content at the moment, right? So
yeah, true. Oh, do you now that AOM's folded? As I said, like you said, you guys are going to sit back and take stock. So who else are flat fighting?
I think it depends what they do, right? So if I don't see them folding. I think that would be a bit melodramatic. It depends whether they try and like strike out and do their own thing.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys are currently fighting Rote Capel in Pochvin at the moment as well, aren't you? Fraternity.
Yeah, we've got some brawls going in Navula. We've got some stuff that we do in Venal as well. I mean, the challenge is trying to keep a constant trickle of content, right? Rather than just focus on we're going to deploy, we get content, and then we get nothing for another 6 weeks until we deploy again.
Yeah, that's always continuous content is always the trouble trying to find. You know, there's only so many things you can do if you're not deployed, and whaling gets boring after a while because citadels make it really easy for them just to tether.
Yeah, and there's less stuff in space. I mean, you catch random.
Sounds like a skill issue.
I hear there's a pill for that.
You guys ever come to Dole? See how much shit's out in space? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then we get jumped on by 10 fucking marshals. So there you go, Fraternity. You guys are looking for a content, go to Delve and there's some marshals, see if you can trap them.
I mean, ESO was already a long way away. Delve is just even more complicated.
Yeah. I
mean, to be fair, content-wise has been pretty good because the non-Chinese part of Fraternity has been in Stain since about October. You know, we were fighting Evictus and that before they all immolated themselves.
Alright, so were you guys fighting Farah or were you allies with Farah?
We were with Farah on that one because they were obviously they're obviously anti anyone that's in Esoteria.
Yeah, yeah, they are. I spent a lot of time cutting my teeth again as an FC fighting Farah. Fucking psychotic total.
That was good fun. It was about 2 months of kind of like every other day there was a proper form up, proper fight. And then whatever happened in Evictus happened, right, at like the beginning of December. So we kind of just dialed back for the holidays.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. Like, we've got things opening up because of vaccinations. We've got the holiday period. So that does remove a lot of content. But as people start going back to work and stuff and start hopping back on, coming back from holidays, hopefully we'll see more content,
and Omicron
more numbers,
starts hitting everything.
Oh, fuck me, dude. Like, it's in Newcastle, which is an hour north of me, and it's running rampant all in my town at the moment.
Means more playing Aviv, right?
Well, yeah, unless my fucking power supply unit decides to set itself on fire again. You laugh, but it scared the shit out of me.
Expert sabotage by the Goonswarm Black Hand, of course.
That's actually what I posted because yesterday I was like, cool, guys, I'm back in the big boy chair. I'm going to start leading fleets again. And then my power supply unit sets itself on fire. And I was in the test Discord. I'm like, goons are scared of my power,
And
guys.
you
They
gotta-
sabotaged my computer.
And you got to give them props for that, because there's been a goon hiding in your power supply for 5 years waiting for this moment. You can't call them not dedicated.
Oh, very dedicated, mate. Black Hand sitting in my fucking power supply. I got no idea what caused it, but it smoked. I learned something, well, two things yesterday. This morning when it happened is, one, I'm never getting a power supply unit that has wet capacitors, and two, my fire alarm doesn't work. So
really, they've saved your life.
yeah, I've already put a message into the landlord and be like, hey, my computer caught fire yesterday and was billowing brown toxic smoke, and the fire alarm didn't go off. Can we get that looked at, please? Because it's one of the ones that are attached to the mains, so I can't fuck with it. The landlord's got to get someone out to dick with it and all that kind of stuff. But mine was a thermal take 700 watt, and yeah, just went up. Capacitor popped, sprayed liquid everywhere, and I'm really fucking happy that I reacted really quickly, because all the internals are melted, wires are fucking fried, but thankfully nothing else was damaged. The heat seems to have stayed in the supply unit. The sticker on top's a little bit bubbly, but motherboard's fine, graphics card's fine. 2 years old, 2.5 years old. Wait, probably closer to 3 now, actually. Yeah, 3 years, sorry.
So back onto AOM. What do we think is going to happen to AOM and Ranger Regiment now that they're kind of booted from the Imperium, or the possibility of being in the Imperium?
Mitani's ping made it look like they were possibly welcome back. Hang on, so I'm going to put the ping back onto the stream so you guys can see it if we're coming back to this topic.
I mean, I wouldn't
Really?
see a non-zero amount of people move from RR into Chikaris or PLA. Because obviously, Goons have their own Chinese corp, and Chikaris is also a Chinese alliance.
I got to give it to Mitani. Yeah. He's very good with words. The rewards of tolerance are treachery and betrayal. Also, thanks Redline for posting this in the New Eden Post Discord, which you can see the link in chat and in the About section of Twitch if you would like to join us. It's got to plug it. But, yeah, like, do you think... It's tricky to know. Like, we don't know who the leadership of Ranger Regiment is at the moment. We don't know if it's still Ranger Regiment's leadership, or if AOM is now leading it, or if it's a combination. And depending on which one of those three it is, will probably depend on what they do.
Has anyone got the translated notes from their fireside, from their meeting they had? I'm just trying to find them.
Oh yeah, that was very funny. It was like
mustache translated.
Actually, I saw Angry in the chat. Is he still here?
One of the points was,
no, he left.
I'm good friend, something along the lines of, I'm good friends with the Ranger Regiment CEO. I can log into the account.
Well, so that's what it says. Yeah, so we have a special relationship with Ranger Regiment. Adorable Bunny, who is a PIBC director on Serenity, which is in brackets, is the CEO of Ranger Regiment. And then, yeah, there's the I can log into her account part of that. But, I mean, for me, that part's kind of like, I mean, ignoring the EULA violation there, that part's kind of secondary, right? What effectively it's admitting is a PIBC director on effectively the Serenity side of the game is the CEO of Ranger Regiment. So they're effectively one entity.
Shouldn't they get the accounts banned, though? It's like massive public admission of a EULA violation. Everyone knows that you can't do it.
The problem is it's not going to be provable, and it will set a precedent that will ruin all sorts of things all over the place at the same time.
Exactly. It sets the precedence. If someone puts a translation or a post or a transcription of a meeting on Reddit, that becomes de facto. I mean, CCP should go and look into it, almost definitely. But it shouldn't auto trigger something, right? Because
CCP on account sharing is like they don't care until something bad happens to the account, and then they're like, "Fuck you."
they've got some pretty good automated account sharing stuff, though, haven't they? I mean, the amount of people you see on Reddit where it's like, my friend logged into his account and my home account, and now my personal account's been blocked.
Half of the "I've been banned and I don't know what to do" threads on Reddit are people hiding that they've RMT'd and they're just trying to get sympathy and lend credence to their lie.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
and the other half,
is encouragement.
And the other half of people are going to be withholding the fact that they typed the N-word in local 100 times.
Yeah, it's a bit yikes. But what's going to happen to Ranger Regiment? They're just going to disband or something? I don't see what they can do like with a week's notice in terms of surviving and a bunch of corps leaving for goons.
We were talking earlier. I mean, they've been in this situation like 5 times in the last 12 months where they just are on the rough end of some stick and they just fucking cockroach up somewhere and respawn.
Yeah, I mean, you can't kill an alliance if they don't want to die, right? Regroup in low sec, regroup in NPC null, try and carve space out in Sov now. There's lots of options there. I mean, they might not be necessarily easy options, but there are options there if you don't want to,
Because didn't Ranger Regiment make like a whole sequence of bad choices, like because they were up in the north before the war, and then they got fucking stomped there, and they moved somewhere else where another big alliance deployed and got stomped there instantly. And
so they were definitely in GOTG, and then that got, and they were putting up good like 200 or something, and versus like GOTG propers 200, so they were putting up good numbers. And then I don't quite know the timing if they started to disband before Frat got involved or Frt'S got involved.
I was in a lot of the groups that always ended up on the doorstep at the wrong. They deployed GOTG fail cascaded. They moved somewhere which happened to be where PanFan was moving like 2 weeks later, and then
maybe pure blind.
Yeah, and then they got annihilated there and across somewhere else, and didn't like 50% of their group split off into another Chinese group, didn't it? Like, who's that? Who was it?
You had MSN and VVV.
Yeah, they were good mates of ours, and from all that stage. But what was it on the? I need to look at Dotland. I can't remember what the area is called, but on that short side, because there was RRs, like they lost a bulk of their numbers to another group that was living in I want to say like Catch in that pipe that comes to Delve.
Dracaris?
Dracaris, yeah.
Yeah, and I would expect a fair number of pilots now to go to Dracaris.
Yeah. So RR, a big chunk of them left for Dracaris, right? During the Delve War period and all the continual moving around to try and fucking find a life. So yeah, I don't think they'll fold.
No, I don't think they'll
I
fold.
hope not. But at the same time, if they do decide to fold, and any of you guys are watching, Tess is recruiting.
Jesus Christ.
Gotta throw it out there, man, you know?
But about this decision to spontaneously kick RR because they tried to strong arm goons into letting AOM merge with them. I don't know. I think that's like a really admirable choice. Because if that were to happen, it's kind of like it's very much blue donating up.
I'd love to have
kind of stuff you don't want to see.
Like, no offense to you at all, Luke, but I'd love to have like one of your cohorts or something who knows what's going on, the messages that were sent backwards and forwards, hop on, because I'd love to hear the story of how this happened. If it did just come out of the blue, if there was any conversations about it at all, like it'd be really interesting to hear.
Probably be Mittens and a couple other people that would be about, but
and I
as far as I
seriously
can tell
doubt
from how he's
Matani
talked
would
about
ever join my show.
I mean, he did a couple times, like after the war, but yeah, not the stuff like this.
He's asleep as well.
Yeah,
US.
That too, but from the tone of like how he talked about things, it really seemed like it was very, very spontaneous, and he wasn't notified. That was what was so bad about it.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say, it's been an interesting week.
Oh, did Phantom might leave us. So if you're watching, mate, thank you very much for hopping on the stream. I really appreciate it. You provided a lot of topics. You hop on whenever you want to, mate. But yeah, I don't know, because like, yeah, I guess you're true. I guess that's right. I guess it's only going to be the higher echelon of the Imperium would be in the know until it gets disseminated through, you know, the pyramid scheme to the lower levels.
The pyramid scheme.
Oh, that's what all alliances are. The people call it promotions, but it's just taking a step up to the next level of the pyramid scheme.
I don't know. It's kind of like a pyramid with two steps, one being Matani, and then the other step being everyone else, including Reddit. So I'm not sure how much of a pyramid that makes.
I don't know, maybe ziggurat? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
It was just an excuse to kick RR, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag
Definitely.
valued allies.
Well,
cracks forming.
yeah. But I think the simplest answer is often the right one, right? Where you're just like, if the ally is providing nothing, there's an opportunity to fucking get rid of them where it's not me being the bad guy, right? I think it's really fucking simple.
I don't know. Numbers are numbers. But when they like undermine you as an ally, and it's like, yep, no, bye bye.
Definitely.
But as an ally, you should be able to run your, like, if you're a valued ally, right? I should be able to run my alliance as I see fit. It shouldn't really matter.
History has shown that is not the case with the Imperium.
No, yeah, that's
Imperium's pretty hierarchical, if you haven't noticed.
yeah, but it's also not the face they provide though, right? Like externally, we stick to our deals, and well, your deal is RR's your fucking ally. But now because they do something they want to do, now you're not my ally, right? So it kind of just doesn't add up.
I mean, you never make an ally and say like, I'm never not going to be your ally.
I mean, I was in Convicted back in the day.
But an ally acquiring a couple of corporations, right, isn't...
Acquiring 23 corporations is not a couple of corporations, though.
Oh, yeah, whatever the number is. But, I mean, was there a deal that he will be your ally, but not if you acquire more than 22 corporations, we're going to lock you out of your shit and fucking make life real hard for you, right? Like,
I mean, there's no deal, like, there's no way to cover every single possible situation that can occur.
Nah, but
you make deals for ones that can,
if you wanted to,
and then everything else is spontaneous.
If you want to punt someone, right, you just wait for them to do something that gives you the excuse to punt them, and that's what it looks like to me.
I guess the question is, if you're an alliance as part of a wider coalition, and you plan for an alliance to merge with you that is 3 times the size of your current alliance, so effectively taking the majority count of your alliance, would you expect that to at least be a conversation between various alliances in your coalition, so they're aware?
I don't think Vince is going to ask fucking headliners permission. I don't think
that's the conversation I'd love to be.
Kelvin's fucking permission.
No, I think you're right. I think you're definitely right.
Like,
on that one.
I don't think anyone in that group, like, there's a value in the allies we have, and they do what they fucking want, right?
It's just an organizational difference. Like, Matani's very much a fan of the he's very much a fan of like
RMC's evacuating, aren't
things
they?
going up the chain and not kind of messing around in some council or supposedly equal set of people that can't make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about RMC is evacing.
Who's RMC?
They were they're in Faith at the moment, I think. As I said, I'm only getting back into the big boy chair as of yesterday, so I'm just trying to catch up on everything. I know that there's a couple of people who are evacing Faith because we're shooting RA, as you know, and getting rid of a lot of the structures there. Red Men's Coalition.
So who's RHP again?
RHP. Isn't RHP...
RMC, sorry.
Red Men's Coalition. Russians.
Red Man's...
Does
that include Red Alliance? That's like Red Alliance, right?
I think they're...
No?
I don't know, man. I'm out of touch.
RA and RMC are not the same group.
I'm at it. So it's more an impasse. Look, bleep, bloop, bloop. I've got no idea what the fuck is happening either. Welcome to the show.
Can all figure it out together.
Basically, yeah.
A whole bunch of NCs Sov got RF today.
Red Menace Coalition, okay. Yeah, which
NC Sov got refed.
Yeah.
Really?
I think he got refed. I don't know if he got refed or not. In Cache and fucking Spire, I think. By original sinners.
That is nice. It was probably Bob. I've seen Bob flying around out of passage a few times.
Yeah, he was in a hyena, I believe. Strutting his stuff at the weird hour that he logs in.
He was in a Hecate and trying to shoot people in our staging system on the gate.
I attempted to FC on what was it? Must have been 2 days yesterday, day before, to go and kill an Astra house I dropped in bumfuck nowhere. First time I FC'd in like 3 or 4 months.
I just typed in bumfuck into Dotland. Is that spelled FUK, FUQ, or FUCK?
All of the above.
It all leads to the same place.
It's a technical sailing term.
Timbuktu, yeah. Look, I think this is going to be an interesting for Eve. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to that region space. Who's going to end up with ESO, Faith, all that. Is Raging Regiment going to hold it? Is Initiative going to keep pushing and taking it? Are the Russians going to try to take it out of Stain? Like, will Farah actually try to take ESO again? You know, like, it's going to be interesting.
I'd like to ask Luke, what are your plans with it? What's FRT's plans with it? Do you not have any plans? What are the plans?
We had no real plans for SO. The plans there were to kick AOM out of SO, but not because we wanted it. It's like miles away from everything else that we hold.
Like, the whole situation just turns into a wet blanket, doesn't it? Because the whole motivator for people being there has just been fucking yoinked out of it.
Maybe Test will end up owning Esoteria again.
That would be fun. Steamroll you.
Steamrollers, come on.
Yeah, you're like 12 jumps from 1 DQ.
You always want 12 jumps from 1 DQ.
What?
So we've always been 12 jumps from 1 DQ and you never steamroll us in ESO?
That was before the war.
Yeah, but even during the war, you guys came in with like 1,000 toasters and maybe reinforced 2 iHubs during that first push.
Maybe it was because we had Pappy against us in Delve.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, we're sitting there. We're on your border. You could have attacked us at any time, and you guys just took the defensive turtle route. The Golden Turtle Award, ladies and gentlemen, Goon Swarm Federation. I'm just ribbing you, mate.
I can't wait to see Goons project. I don't think they will, so it'll be fucking hilarious.
If goons do take it, I don't think they'll take it for themselves. I think they'll take it for either an ally or a renter or something. I don't think anyone really wants Esoteria.
They'll probably just end up in some other neutral entity's hands. Because, it doesn't really make sense for us to be there.
I mean, if we try to take it, you'll probably fight it because fuck Tess. Tess is next. I don't think you really care who else takes it.
Where did Init deploy DTAC P, was it?
Fountain, I think. I know they're still living in Fountain, but I did see some iHubs.
They took the DTAC P iHub in there 2 days ago, I think.
Did they move a bunch of caps back over that way as well?
This is probably something I can't say anything about.
Yeah, no.
I'm really unsure.
I just the irony of Init deploying into and out of that region like 12 times in the last 6 months.
It's taking a toll on our jump bridges.
Yeah, the fuel costs.
We need to make an ACL for them and add the fuel prices to that, like they do for us.
So in test we charge 1 ISK per LO used, just so that way we can keep track of how much we've got to put back into it and how much is used. But I know that Horde and XIX and a couple of other people do a different way, because like we jump through in like shuttles and it's like 50,000 ISK and we're like, what the hell is this shit?
This fleet I ran for the first time, I went through 2 jump gates in a row and it cost me like 180 million, not a million, 180,000 ISK or something. I was like, fuck. Price of diesel's gone up.
Yeah, fucking earth. Speaking of, fucking price of petrol in Australia at the moment. I go to get 95 from the Caltex, it's like $1.93. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Where do you live?
Central Coast.
Yeah, right. That's more expensive than it is in fucking Tassie.
It's more expensive than it is in Queensland.
$1.80, yeah.
Yeah, still, it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, diesel's gone up, LPG's gone up, everything's bloody going up.
Batteries are getting cheaper.
Welcome to the Serious Slander Saturday, where we complain about fuel prices.
Look, mate, you're with a couple of old farts, all right, mate? Oh, it's always going to come up to that. You'll learn in like 20 years. You'll learn.
Didn't you have something else on your clickbait list, Kale?
Look, I think that's basically it. We've kind of gone through all the clicky-baity topics. AOM folding in a Ranger Regiment, what that's going to mean. Fraternity only attacked AOM because Fulcrum was in hospital. As I said, Luke, after the conversation with you, I know that's bullshit. It was just clickbait.
Fucking. I mean, I will say this: if that turns out to be true, I genuinely wish him the best. But nobody seems to know if that's true or not.
Yeah, no way. Like Fulcrum, if somehow this does get to you, buddy, and you are in hospital and the rumors are true, I really do wish you a speedy recovery, and I hope you're doing well.
Best wishes, but I don't think even he will expect the boot kicks to stop coming.
Well, that's the thing. They're going to stop coming now because they're in Ranger Regiment and no one knows what the fuck's going to happen between Frat and Ranger Regiment. That's going to be interesting to see. Is it even Ranger Regiment anymore? Like, with the leadership changes?
Slapfire. Yeah. Just in the corner of New Eden by themselves.
I don't know. China's been dwindling a bit on our server right now that theirs is back up and getting patched and shit, right?
A lot of pilots, and I know this, from what I understand, this specifically affected AOM more than most. Obviously, AOM, as part of PIBC, play on Serenity, Eve Echoes, and Tranquility. From what I was understanding, talking to someone last night, a lot of pilots did go back to Serenity. They might come to TQ, I guess, if there's like a call to arms sort of thing.
Well, you did say that on Serenity, one of their allies has turned around and started blowing them up, didn't you?
That was a rumour I heard, that there's conflict on Serenity at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like VVV's numbers have plummeted. They've gone from like a 3,000 man alliance down to 800, and there's a whole bunch of Chinese that are dropping off the map, and we're trying to figure out, is it their new gaming laws, our...
I don't think it's the gaming laws, because, and I was talking to a couple of people about this the other day, and anybody that's playing TQ is using a VPN, so they're already getting around the Chinese legislation. So the gaming hours law, which I think is for people under the age of 16, if I remember correctly, people that are already using a VPN to get around the rule are probably not going to care either.
Yeah, true. There's been a few Chinese groups that are dwindling in numbers, but maybe that's every group and it's not specific to the Chinese.
I think there's been a slide across the board, which is why it's like important just to keep the kind of content flowing for people, right?
I feel like it's just going to be fighting on Serenity until the donut reestablishes itself and then they'll come back to TQ.
I mean, there's not much going on in TQ for them to come back to. Or, okay, and maybe get shot by Fraternity is definitely something they should think about. But
there's people to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally nothing to do when there's just the actual blue donut, unironically.
I mean, I'm like 10, 20 years away from being middle-aged, thank you very much. Malachi, on the other hand, I think he's already past that point.
I'm blessed with not knowing how long I'm going to live, Kale, so I can't tell you if I'm middle-aged or not.
Bro, I thought I was going to be dead at 18, you know, like, I'm surprised that I've made it to 30.
I'm glad you made it to 30. I hope you make it to 40.
Oh, look, knowing me, I'm going to live to fucking beat Betty White and hate every day of it.
It's going to be disappointing to make it to 99 and be so close to 100.
Look, as everyone said, man, she took fucking 2021 by the throat and took it down with her, so this year's going to be a good one.
Okay.
So, look, do we have any other topics to cover? As I said, we've gone through our Ranger Regiment, we've gone through Fulcrum possibly being in hospital, we've gone through a lot of other random topics, my computer catching on fire, the ping from Mittens. Is there anything else that we need to cover? Oh, the Doctor Who. We've covered the Doctor Who special. Fuck NFTs. My fiance is an artist and she absolutely hates them. It's actually part of one of her art contracts that she's not allowed to enter into NFTs, otherwise her contract gets revoked. Well, they're that bad, man. Like, even the owner of NFTs has turned around and went, no, I'm stepping away and washing my hand of these, like the guy who created them.
NFTs more like no fucking thanks.
Fucking oath. You know what? We've hit 2 hours. I think we've covered all our topics, my friends. I think we might want to call it here. We'll go through the final thoughts. We'll start off from the bottom, work our way up. So Malachi, any final thoughts, mate? Anything you want to say?
I haven't played good golf in the morning. That's all I really care about at the moment.
Oh, I haven't played golf in years. I'd love to go hit the green.
Yeah, having beers at 8:30 in the morning is a good thing, isn't it?
It's fucking 12 o'clock somewhere. You know, it's Australia. It's part of our culture. You know, whatever. They can't judge us.
It's part of my personal culture, I think.
Luke, you got anything, final words you want to say, matey?
No, because my wife has just got back, so my dogs are going nuts, so I'm going to disappear for a second.
God damn it, Kel, you set that up.
Two Lukes confuses it.
Well, Frat, Luke, thank you very much for jumping on. You're always welcome, mate. It was good to have someone from Fraternity and getting your point of view. Also, the talk that we had during the Keep Stuff Light was really informative. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, you too, anytime.
Right, Goon Luke, do you have any final words?
Not exactly. I'm not too fussed about the state of the game as is. I know a lot of people aren't, but that's just me, so I'll just keep enjoying the game.
And are you back now as co-host, or am I still going to have to run this thing and see you pop in every now and then?
Depends. We'll see.
Fair enough.
He's having too much fun playing the game.
He's been exactly. A young lad getting on the piss, kissing girls, you know.
Kissing COVID.
Look, my final thoughts. Look, I'm gonna steal mine from Butsman. Peace in the Middle East. Be a good motherfucker. Hope you all guys had a fantastic holidays. You all stay safe out there. Make sure to get vaccinated. And look, we'll see you next Tuesday on Trash Talk Tuesday. So, look, thank you very much for watching the show. You guys have all been awesome. The chat. You guys have been fucking sick as. We've had some great conversations and topics because of you guys interacting, so keep on interacting. If you ever want to hop on the show, it's an open door. Join the Discord. Go to Drag Me. We'll pop you on. You can have your say. Other than that, I'm Kale. This was Serious Slander Saturday, actually on time and on a Saturday. I hope you guys have a safe time out there and New Eden. Fly safe, guys. Catch you next time.